A mutant baby has been ripped from his parents' arms. Cable is on the case. But what has become of the Light of Galador? What's up, everybody? Trinity here, and welcome back to the Second Street Marvel, your source for the latest and greatest comic book reviews. And guys, today we are going to be talking about a new Dawn of X book, and that is Cable, issue number 2. This book is being written by Jerry Dugan. It's got art by Phil Noto, and the letters are done by VC's Joe Sabino. Go ahead and take a look at that cover being done there by Phil Noto as well. Now, if you don't remember exactly what happened in Cable issue number 1, I'm going to go ahead and kind of get you a little bit caught up. Now, if this is your first time here, please make sure you're subscribed and all of that stuff. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Now, in Cable issue number 1, there was this young mutant named Fauna who was running through the forest there on Krakoa and was being chased by this monster and was scared and was crying out for help. Well, Cable, Armor, and Pixie went to lend a hand and save this young mutant. What happened was Pixie went in and made this mutant not be as scared, and basically gave it the illusions that this monster was like this, really just giant cuddly animal, something like you would see in a Disney movie, right? And Cable and Armor went in to Armor went to help protect the kid, and Cable went in to execute this animal. Well, as he was getting ready to do that, Fauna said, "Hey, whoa, stop, hold on, I think I know what's wrong with it." And they were like, "Hey, you communicating with this animal?" I don't know. So they went up and they found that in this animal's paw was a sword, and that is when Cable ended up taking out the sword out of its paw, and the sword was known as the Light of Galador. Now, when taking out this sword ended up making the beast not be so angry or anything, and they went ahead and let it go. They healed it and let it go on its way. Now, this sword ended up activating these space knights that we don't really know what they were named. There was 3 of them. They activated, and they were kind of in this museum in this other universe, and they ended up taking off they had got activated and took off out of that museum. Now, picking up here in issue number 2, we see that there is a baby mutant that has been ripped from his parents' arms right out of their house. Cable is on the case, and he is there talking with the investigators, the police who are investigating the disappearance of this mutant. And he is there telling them kind of like, hey, this was a mutant baby taken on human soil, so this is an international incident, and we need to know everything you know. And he's kind of there telling them what they need to do, and they're like, hey kid, like this is our investigation, stay out of our way. So Cable, we fast forward and we see that Cable is actually out on a date with one of the Stepford Cuckoos. Yeah, all the of the 5 sisters. He's there out on a date with Esme. Esme? I don't know. Anyway, so they're there out on a date, and he's sitting there kind of apologizing to her, saying, "Hey, I'm sorry," and she's like, "Hey, like, you took Celeste out on a date, and that seemed all good. You took her to this restaurant that was all nice." And he's like, "Hey, believe me, the quality of the food wasn't that great." So he has her there and asks for her assistance in finding any clues that were going on there for the disappearance of this baby. She kind of scans the neighbors. Everything was good. She scans the other neighbors. They were scared, but they seemed like they kind of had a thing for the mutants who were living next door. And there was also an empty house to which there was nobody home. Now, it turns out there was a dog that was there on the premises of the house as well that had seen a little bit more than what the neighbors had seen. They had noticed that there was some neighbors that had lived across the way that had taken off shortly after the baby mutant had gone missing. Now, these people did seem to have a lot of parties, what we find out from the neighbors, and that at these parties, they seemed to dress in a peculiar way, which made Cable believe that the people who were renting out the house across the way were part of the Order of X. Now, also in the story, we end up seeing Cyclops, who ends up coming onto the case. He is there. He's meeting with the same detectives that are on the case of the missing mutant, and they kind of, they're all kind of having a little bit of banter back and forth about missing mutants, missing children, and Scott and Nathan, and this. Anyway, you probably get what I'm getting at here if you know this whole story. So anyway, he's there having that conversation. He ends up going back to Krakoa with a Philly cheesesteak sandwich, to which the detectives had told him to make sure that he picked up. and he's there, and Emma Frost shows up, and she's not happy because Nathan Summers is seeing her kids. That's right. He's been out there messing with the Stepford Cuckoos, and she don't like it one bit. She expected him to be a gentleman. Well, she says that her daughters don't deserve any of that. She don't want their hearts broken, except for Esme. Esme? Esme. Because she deserves it. Now, there's a little bit more that happens in this story. I don't want to give everything away. Altogether, I gotta say, I thought Cable issue number 2 was a really good book. It was certainly better than issue number 1. I wasn't a big fan of issue number 1. Wasn't even sure if I was going to continue reading this series, but I'm going to continue doing some reviews. I thought issue number 2 was a lot better than issue number 1. Has a little bit more to offer, and it kind of ties into a little bit more things that we're going to be getting in the future. It seems like this might be tying into the Ten of Swords. Possibly. We also see a little bit of crossover coming over from just some of the other books that are happening out there as well. Like, I think there's, just a little bit of mix, just coming in from some of the other titles. But altogether, I thought the writing in this second issue was a little bit better. The art here was pretty good. It's Phil Noto, so it's kind of one of those things you're either going to like it or you're not. I do have some little nitpicks about Phil Noto art the same way that I do about God, who else is it that does the art very much like Phil Noto? You know who, Rod Reese. And it has to do with the noses and the coloring that they do, because these guys usually do all of their own artwork, the colors and everything. And they both got a very unique style and almost kind of similar. And my gripes about both of them are very similar too. But anyway, other than that, I think everything else about this book was pretty good. I think this is one you guys are going to want to read. Let me know down in the comments below if you have read Cable and what you thought about this issue, and if you have any other theories or anything coming out of this book. That's all I have for this video today, folks. Thank you all so much for tuning into the Second Street Marvel. If you're not already, please make sure you're subscribed, click the little bell and all of that good stuff. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it, give it a thumbs down if you don't. It's all good, it doesn't hurt my feelings. But while you're at it, make sure that you share it with a friend and invite them to come hang out with us here on the Second Street Marvel. You all have a very good day, have a great rest of your week. Go out and read some awesome comics, and we'll see you in the next video. Later.